This video is brought to you by Raycon True Wireless Earbuds. Stick around to hear more about them and also a special offer they're making available through my channel. Gamers, you're back, and you brought likes. You shouldn't have. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to This Week in Video Games. Always a pleasure to see you. I've had a fantastic week, stuck here in my house, which I will likely be stuck in for another 2 months thanks to Delta. It's a shitty airline and a shitty virus. On the plus side, I get to play a lot of video games and read a lot of gaming news, so let's talk about the best stuff now. Very juicy story to start us off this week. For a while now, Rockstar have been DMCA striking community-created mods that restored or made playable the old GTA games inside of GTA 5, or just whatever. Nearly a dozen mods have been shut down for this reason, which led many to suspect that Rockstar were working on their own remasters of the original, and they didn't want modders stealing their thunder. Well, those suspicions are looking particularly well-founded this week after a Kotaku article claimed to have confirmed the existence of not one GTA remaster, not two GTA remasters, but a remaster of the entire PS2 GTA Trilogy, GTA 3, GTA Vice City, and GTA San Andreas. Interestingly, Kotaku claims that these games are being built in Unreal Engine rather than a fresh coat of paint being applied to Rockstar's Rage engine. That sounds odd since rebuilding these massive games from essentially scratch, that's a huge job. Apparently the work is being done by Rockstar Dundee, the recently acquired Scottish studio who have experience working in Unreal Engine, so at least that part makes sense. The original plan was to give these games away for free as a sort of thank you gift from Rockstar, but these plans have since changed since the executives remember how much they love money. To be fair though, if they rebuild all 3 GTA games in Unreal, I'm okay paying for that. I feel like that's a thing that is okay to charge for. Best of all, it looks like we don't have to wait long for it, as Kotaku are reporting that the Remaster Trilogy will be out in the next few months, releasing alongside the next-gen version of GTA 5, which debuted on the PS3 and 360, was in the top 10 selling best games of the week every week for the PS4 and the Xbox One, and now arrives on next-gen consoles where it will surely sell another couple of 100 million copies. And people wonder why we have to wait so long for GTA 6. We're not giving them much reason to hurry along now, are we? Speaking of remasters, it looks like Bethesda are about to reveal a Quake remaster of some sorts. The news came from Bethesda themselves, who this week announced the schedule for their QuakeCon event, which starts this week. The show opens with a 30-minute block devoted to Quake, which despite the name of the convention is not the norm. The next day there is a 3.5-hour block devoted to Quake. When people saw this, they were like, huh. Then, the intern in charge of the website made a mistake, pushing out an update that read, quote, "Quake is back." In this special stream, John Linneman from Digital Foundry talks with Jerk Gustafsson, I'm really sorry if I mispronounced your name, dude, of Machine Games about the title's iconic legacy and what it meant to both of them. The pair will also discuss the additional content Machine Games have contributed to this revitalized edition, end quote. The info was quickly scrubbed from the website, but the damage was done and the cat is now firmly out of the bag. Unless Bethesda are trolling us, we can certainly expect to see a Quake remaster revealed this week. As much as I welcome this, I am a little bit bummed. I had hoped that with the sun setting on the recent Doom games that id would do to Quake what they did to Doom. Haul its ass into the 21st century and restore the Quake franchise to its former glory. Because, I'm sorry, but Quake Champions just isn't what people are keen for right now. Here's hoping the remaster is just to whet our appetites and the main course will arrive when it is good and ready. Okay, this next segue is just too good. Quake's soundtrack was done by 9 Inch Nails. This week, the 9 Inch Nails guitarist, Robin Finnick, announced that he was teaming up with the creative director of Spec Ops: The Line, and they were forming a new game studio. What are the chances this guy announces his studio in the same week that Quake gets a remaster? I mean, that's just wild. Anyway, yes, these two are setting up an LA-based art house studio called Eyes Out, and it's aimed at making, quote, dark atmospheric games with an emphasis on environmental storytelling, end quote. To be honest, I'd play whatever the creative director of Spec Ops: The Line makes next, so sign me up for that. Speaking of new studios, there was another one announced this week, and it comes from a rather unlikely founder. YouTube streamer Dr. Disrespect. You might remember the doc from his recent ban on Twitch, which we still don't know anything about, mind you, or his recent ban from E3 after bringing a camera crew into a public toilet. I still think that was unfair, by the way. Doc was just ahead of his time on that one. We're still on the hot tub meta right now, but trust me, when people get bored of that, it's the public toilet meta next. Just you wait and see. Anyway, one thing you might not know about the Doc is that he is actually a former game developer working in a previous life as a Call of Duty level designer. He obviously misses at least some of that because this week he announced he's setting up his own studio. The job posting on his Champions Club website advertises for a studio manager with experience building studios and shipping AA or AAA games. One line in the posting received, received a lot of attention. Quote, "The studio plans to forge a partnership with a select list of mega influencers and then work closely with them to launch their dream gaming title," end quote. I don't know about this one. As central as influencers have become to video game marketing, I don't think they're a good building block for actual game development. I mean, just because someone could play a game well doesn't mean they can build a game well. There's plenty of armchair dev going on in the world of content creation, and most of it is wrong. And I say that as someone who's served up more than their fair share of wrong armchair game dev advice. I wish Doc all the best with this, but right now you can pencil me into the skeptical column. From up-and-coming studios to studios quickly circling the drain, Blizzard, or more broadly Activision Blizzard. The fallout of the devastating lawsuit brought against them by the state of California continues, despite the best efforts of Bobby Kotick to give the guillotine a good workout. This week, Polygon published a report that showcased the conditions of quality assurance contractors working for Activision Blizzard, and it did not paint a rosy picture. Workers described extremely low pay, extremely long hours, no job security, and mandatory crunch, with some testers working up to 28 days straight, 12-hour shifts per day. That's like a Twitch stream schedule right there. That's horrific. Seriously though, quality assurance testers are treated like shit across almost the entire video games industry, which really sucks. And it's a shame that it happens here at Blizzard, one of the most lucrative publishers on the planet. Bobby Kotick made $150 million this year, and these people are working rotating 3-month contracts at $12 an hour with 3 months of no pay until the next contract hits. It's bullshit. For what it's worth, Activision Blizzard did do something this week, though exactly why they did it remains unclear. This week, Kotaku revealed that Diablo 4's game director, Luis Barriga, Diablo 4 lead level designer Jesse McCree, and World of Warcraft designer Jonathan LeCraft have all left Blizzard, with Blizzard themselves confirming their departures after Kotaku's reporting. Of note, Blizzard did not say why these people were let go, but it was very likely connected to the recent lawsuit, since Jesse McCree and Jonathan LeCraft were both pictured in the infamous Cosby Suite photo that did the rounds recently. If the name Jesse McCree sounds familiar, that's probably because you've played Overwatch. The cowboy fighter was named for the developer, Jesse McCree, so his departure from Blizzard has created some awkward questions about how to handle the name of the character in-game. Some Overwatch shoutcasters have already answered that question, refusing to say the name McCree during a recent event, instead choosing to refer to McCree as the cowboy. Given that Blizzard has committed to making changes to in-game content as a result of the lawsuit, it sounds like it's high noon for McCree. Little Overwatch joke for you there to lighten the mood, hope you like that one. We've got a small update this week on Stalker 2, the upcoming open-world RPG shooter, sequel to the cult classic of yore. The developers this week revealed that the game was running in Unreal Engine 5. If that doesn't mean anything to you, don't worry, it just means it's gonna look really nice. Probably. Unreal 5 is the graphics engine you'll be seeing most this coming generation, so this is just Stalker getting in on the ground floor. With all those Microsoft bucks behind them, it'll be interesting to see how good this thing looks when it ships early next year, if it doesn't get a delay. Speaking of Microsoft, here's a dumb headline. Game Pass isn't coming to Switch. Speaking to Games Radar, Phil Spencer said that Microsoft have no plans to bring Game Pass to any closed platforms right now. Quote, mainly because those closed platforms don't want something like Game Pass, end quote. Yeah, no shit. For some reason, this talking point has been doing the rounds, like Nintendo would be like, oh yes, we charge $10 for a calculator app on the Switch and we DMCA strike you if you so much as hum the Mario tune. But please, bring Game Pass to Switch so that consumers will buy fewer Nintendo games. In what reality was that going to happen? Sticking with Nintendo, we got a leak this week about the existence of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It came from a voice actress of one of the characters. Here's how it went down.
When they did the second one, they just asked me to come back. And I think they're going to do another.
Ah, I see.
Knowledge? Don't know. But yeah, I think they're going to do another. Don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
No, you weren't. No, you definitely weren't. Now you have to deal with Nintendo's lawyers. Hope you have a lot of money. One reveal that was supposed to happen this week was the reveal of Idris Elba as the voice of Knuckles in the next Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I can't believe this is real. Stringer Bell voices Knuckles. It's all in the game, baby. It's all in the game. So, what got announced or delayed this week? Well, out of nowhere, we got the reveal of FROSTPUNK 2, sequel to the critically acclaimed RTS survival game hybrid. FROSTPUNK combined a unique gameplay model with a unique setting and some unique writing to create something that felt wholly original, so you can understand why more than a few people were hyped to see the sequel is on the way, even if there's no release date yet. If you want to check out the original, it's available on pretty much every platform, and it has a mobile version coming soon, so keep an eye out for that one. Bugsnax, the meme game that came and went as a PS5 exclusive, got announced for PC this week. It'll be coming to Steam sometime in 2022, Not much more to say on that one. Spelunky 1 and 2 are coming to Switch on August 26th. I don't understand this because my brain is like, how is that not already on the Switch? I would have bet millions of dollars that at least Spelunky 1 was already on the Switch. Anyway, I was wrong, but not for much longer. Loop Hero also got announced for the Switch. It was one of the highest rated indie titles of the year, and it's an inversion of the classic roguelike dungeon crawler because instead of crawling the dungeon, you're building it as you go. No date for this one yet. One thing I'll point out to you is something called Realms Deep. It's a digital event hosted by 3D Realms with a focus on boomer shooters, aka shooters that look really old but still play really well. Think Amid Evil, think Dusk, think Ultra Kill, think Ion Fury. The event showcased dozens and dozens of games, too many to list here, so I'm going to leave a link to the event page below, and if you're male, aged 35 and over, and know how to bunny hop, feel free to give that one a click. We got some delay news this week as well. Life is Strange True Colors, the angsty, emo, teenage, coming-of-age adventure game. It was meant to release towards the back end of this year, but has now been pushed to early 2022, no specific date yet. The other delay was for Lone Echo 2, sequel to one of the most celebrated VR titles ever. It was meant to be releasing sometime soon, but will now be releasing sometime later. No specific date on that one either. So what came out last week? Well, surprise, Nintendo held an indie showcase this week, and amidst a whole bunch of reveals, we also got a release date for AXIOM Verge 2, and that date was today. Well, not today, but today of the other day, on the day that they said it was today, or that they announced it was made. So not today, but yes, today. Point is, the game is out now, and so are the reviews. It's sitting at around 80 on Metacritic, depending on platform, which puts it similar to its predecessors, though the reviews read a little less enthusiastic than those of the original. IGN scored it a 7, saying, quote, "AXIOM Verge 2 is a dual-dimension Metroidvania that's engaging to explore, despite its one-dimensional combat and underwhelming boss fights," end quote. Another surprise release that came out of the Switch event was for Boyfriend Dungeon, an isometric dungeon crawler dating game thing where you date your weapons. I'm sorry, but that sounds like too good a premise to turn down. Very few critic scores up at the moment, but the game is currently sitting at around 90% positive on Steam, so that is a good sign. Biggest release of the week was the martial arts inspired battle royale game NARAKA BLADEPOINT. It hit Steam where it's currently sitting at 74% mostly positive. The game opened very strongly with a concurrent peak of around 73,000 players, which is really impressive given that it's not a free-to-play title, and there wasn't a huge amount of marketing spend on this. It'll be interesting to see if this one stands the test of time or fades into obscurity like the recent Hunters Arena Legends. So, what's coming out this week? First up, we have GREAK Memories of AZUR arriving today for the PC, PS5, Xbox Series console, and the Switch, where I think it'll feel most at home. It's a charming 2D side-scroller where you control two characters at once, tethering them together as needed while splitting up to solve puzzles and beat up bad guys. I played the demo of this during the recent Steam Next Fest and I really enjoyed it. Check it out if you're into that sort of thing. Humankind is an upcoming Civilization-esque game that's got some positive buzz behind it. Admittedly, I'm not too close to this one because this genre doesn't tickle my pickle, but you can grab it today on Stadia, Steam, and Game Pass for PC. That's not bad. The 6 of you out there still playing Marvel's Avengers, it is a very big day for you because you're finally going to have some friends to play with for once. Maybe. For maybe a few days. We'll see how it goes. The War for Wakanda update lands today on all platforms, serving up a new Wakanda-centric storyline and introducing Black Panther as a playable character. Voiced by Chris Judge, no less, the absolute badass who voiced everyone's favorite sad dad, Kratos. And believe me, that's a very competitive category, as there are a lot of sad dads out there these days. The War for Wakanda feels like a make-or-break moment for the game, since a lot of marketing dollars are behind it, and it's a character everyone loves, and if this doesn't shift the dial on this game, then I just can't see Square putting more good money in after bad. No pressure, Black Panther. No pressure. Mortal Shell, the well-received Souls-like, is getting some DLC tomorrow. It's called the Virtuous Cycle, and it adds a roguelike dungeon-crawling mode to the game. Here's one I'm particularly excited about, 12 Minutes. If you haven't heard about this one before, it's from the art director of The Witness, Luis Antonio, who went on to create his own project and somehow managed to wrangle in the voices of James McAvoy, Daisy Ridley, and William Dafoe. That's an all-star cast right there. I have high hopes for this one, and I will be reviewing it this week. Stay tuned and, I don't know, subscribe, ding the notification bell, just a thought. Biggest release of the week hits on the 20th, the Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, featuring meaty upgrades made possible by the power of the PS5, including lip-syncing for the Japanese voice track. I know that doesn't sound particularly impressive, but it actually is because it relates to the way lip-sync is done in real time, thanks to the PS5's hard drive, as opposed to, like, having to upload entirely new cutscene files, which would make the game's install size absolutely huge. It's complicated, I'm sure I didn't explain it right, but it's cool nonetheless. On top of this, Sucker Punch are also serving up their Iki Island DLC expansion, which adds a new region and a new story arc to the game, and there's also going to be some updates to the game's multiplayer mode coming soon. Ghost of Tsushima was one of my favorite games of last year, and I am very pumped to get back into it this week. And finally, there's a new Madden game coming out this week, and I couldn't care less. Put this on your radar. Okay, this is Clid the Snail. So first of all, you're a snail with lots of guns. Not exactly what we think of when we think of snails, but it worked for Earthworm Jim, so I see no reason why it wouldn't work here as well. I actually sat down with the developers of this game this week in a group Q&A, and they showed it off, and I went into this thinking, what the fuck, man, a game about a snail? Come on now. But by the end, the developers had won me over with both their passion for what is clearly an offbeat premise, but also the gameplay looks kinda cool. It's a top-down shooter that's a lot slower and more methodical than what the genre typically serves up, and the boss battle they showed off looked cool, and you get to be a snail with lots of guns. So I'm giving this one the benefit of the doubt. Clid the Snail is coming to PC, PS4, and PS5 sometime this year. Sort of free stuff time, and it's the third week of the month, which means it's a quiet week, as per usual. Epic are currently giving away Rebel Galaxy, a space exploration / combat game that's meant to have a banging soundtrack. At least that's what last week's comment section told me. See, I do read your comments, guys. I appreciate you. On the 20th, Epic will be giving away 2 excellent titles. The first is Void Bastards, a first-person cel-shaded roguelike with some very basic combat but some very clever writing. 3D platformer YOOKA-LAYLEE is the second offering, spiriting us back to an era where these sorts of games were all the rage. Now what do we get? Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts and Balan Wonderland. We've made a mistake, let's go back. For Game Pass this week, we got a few more additions. Surgeon Simulator 2 arrives. Okay then, sure. ARAGAMI 2 is a stealth platformer launching on September 17th, and it's coming to Game Pass on day 1. And if you're one of the 2 or 3 people in the world who hasn't yet played Stardew Valley, then your time is now, because Microsoft have announced that the beloved farm management game will be arriving on Game Pass in the next few months. No specific date yet. And finally, our feel-good story for the week comes from the Upside Down, aka Australia, and more specifically, the city of churches and murder capital of Australia, Adelaide, or as we like to call it, Radelaide. This week, the South Australian police were called to a trading card shop which had reported a break-in. The thief, or thieves plural, had stolen board games and a number of rare Digimon trading cards. The coppers arrived at around 9:30 AM after the break-in was reported. They left soon after that, but later that day, a man walked into the store and presented some of the stolen cards, asking how much they were worth. This was one of the thieves who was returning to the very store he had just robbed so he could sell the stuff back to them. He really thought the staff wouldn't notice. But the staff were like, those are our cards. And then they called the police. Somehow the police caught up with this guy, and then he led the police back to his mate's place where the rest of the stolen cards and the board games were, along with 2 other suspects. This had all gone down by about 1 PM, but get this. There was a 4th guy who was not arrested by this point. At 3 PM, he went back to the same store he had just robbed and tried to sell more of the stolen cards back to the people he had just stolen from. This means that in this troupe of 4 criminal masterminds, 2 of these people thought it was a good idea to literally return to the scene of the crime to sell back the stuff they just stole, and neither of them spoke to each other about that to plan that out. They both came to that idea independently. The best part of all of this is that there are literally 2 other trading card shops within 10 minutes walk of where all of this went down. Despite this, these 2 people both reached the conclusion independently that the extra 10 minutes of walking was not worth it, and they would just go back to the place they just robbed and hope that no one noticed. I desperately want them to make a movie out of this. I want a heist movie with Seth Rogen and Danny DeVito and Eric Andre and Meryl Streep. I don't know, just so we can win an Oscar or something. Guys, if you enjoyed that feel-good story or any other part of the episode this week, then smash the like button like it's a kebab at 2 AM on a Friday night next to the Mauled Balls. Shout out to my Radelaide viewers right there. We've got a lot of great content coming this week, including reviews for 12 Minutes and Ghost of Tsushima's expansion, so hit that subscribe button and ding the notification bell so you'll know the moment they're live. Thank you all for taking some time out of your week to stop by. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next week. Before we go, guys, let me tell you about a product that will change your life. Okay, that's probably a bit of an overstatement, but it's still a pretty good product. Raycon wireless earbuds. I've been using Raycons for about 2 years now, and I was skeptical about them at first because they're literally half the price of other earbuds. To my pleasant surprise though, the quality was just as good or better than other earbuds I'd used, and the battery life was awesome as well. Raycon's newest model, the Everyday earbuds, are their best ones yet, with 32 hours of battery life, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a range of custom gel tips for both comfort and to ensure a nice noise isolating fit. If you don't have a pair of wireless earbuds at this point, you're really missing out. They're small, they're comfortable, you can take them everywhere you go, which is what I used to do when I was still allowed to go outside, but believe you me, when this lockdown ends and I am once again loosed on the great outdoors, it'll be with my Raycons either in my pocket or in my ears. Best of all, Raycons come with a free 45-day return policy, so you don't have to take my word for it. Try them for yourself, and if you aren't happy, you get your money back. Easy. To get 15% off your order, click the link in the description below or visit buyraycon.com/skillup. Thanks Raycon for sponsoring the video, and thank you for watching it. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down so I know to do better for next time. If you enjoyed yourself, consider subscribing, and if you really enjoyed yourself, maybe consider hitting that notification bell so you never miss a video. You can see my patrons here on the left. They're awesome. They're amazing. If you want to join them, check out my Patreon page. Thank you again. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.